Okay. All right. So all that was muted. All right. Anyway, today's April 18th, 2025. I'm coming back from vacation, and while I was in the hotel lobby, I kind of put together these indicators here that it's some information about how many bars are in a trend, or how many bars are consecutive bearish, how many bars consecutive bullish. There's an average there. There's some other information about how many bars happen between a swing low and a swing high. So there's a lot of information in this indicator down here that I created in the hotel lobby. But up here, what I was looking for was, I was looking for something specifically here when we have swing lows and then a swing high in between the swing lows, and then we have a break of that swing high level. If this high is so high above this break, between the relationship between this break line, the high, this break line, and the low, then high at here after it's broken is only on this bar. So I could change that script so it encompasses that. But let's do this. So if I zoom out here, this bar here would be what I'm talking about. I've got a swing low. In between this swing low and this swing low, we got a swing high. This swing high was right here. This move here broke this swing high, and this distance from here to here and here to here, this distance is greater than this distance. And so we put a marker here. What we're really looking for is the retracement from here, either back to this start or from here back to this swing high, right? And you see, that's what we're looking for, those times. And I think there was even one where it came down here, but that was much later, right here. All right, so anyway, that's what I'm working on today. I'm just going to kind of put together something somewhat, well, it won't be fast, but I'm going to put it together. All right, so we'll start with a new chart. And I'm going to put on my music, so I want to put you guys on some music, and you can just hang out in the background. again, I'm looking more so for the programming than I am the perfect entry right now. Again, just want to make sure that I have a good enough grasp on the programming that I can program what I see. Because at some point you'll see something so complex, you'll say, "There's no way I can program that." Well, hopefully you don't say that, and hopefully you can program it. So. I don't know what I want to use. This is 8:30, 9:30. I'm pretty sure this is a news bar, and I don't think that these necessarily qualify. So, nevertheless, let's work on this area here. So we're going to work. Just put a marker there so we know we can come back and find it really easily. Wait. Yeah. So if we're scrolling back and forth on the chart, we can find it really easily. All right. If you're working on a specific area, of course you could put a rectangle or anything like that. Okay, so we can say that this is going to be a swing high, swing high, swing high. And then, or we could do something like when we have 3 swing highs that are sequentially lower than the other. When we get 3 swing highs that are sequentially lower than the preceding, then we can draw a trend line. And then if price breaks that, if the high breaks the trend line, then I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this way different than what I did previously, and that's fine too. All right. Let's make it more complicated. All right. So we're going to say if we have 3 swing highs, one sequentially lower than the other, then we're going to look for the break. And when we find the break, we're going to, when the high breaks it, we're going to take the value of the high, and we're going to take the value of the, this would be way harder. The value of the lowest low, and then we will, from here, this lowest low to this highest high, we'll make a box. How about that? Yeah. Okay, so to do that, we'd want to probably keep track of, we need to keep track of the swings, but we also need to keep track of the bar number of the swings. That way, when we look back, once we draw a trend line, we can look back this number of bars, right? We can look back from this break, back this number of bars, and then we can ask, what's the lowest low of this number of bars? Okay, so lowest low of X bars after finding a break of 3 sequentially lower highs. Okay, all right. Let's see how this works. Okay, so let's first find the sequentially lower highs. Okay. And this, we can do this with show me's. Paint bar, show me's. Okay, so we'll just call this trend line break. If the swing high, if we have a swing high of 4 bars greater than 0, then plot 1. We want to plot it 4 bars ago, and we want to plot the high of 4 bars ago. Verify that. Come over here, add it, TL break, show me. Oh, there. Okay. I got something else on here too. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. We're on here. Let's make this style cross. Okay. All right. So we have our three acceptable swing highs right there. All right. So now we need to start looking to see if we have one sequentially lower than the other. Okay. So the most recent one needs to be lower than the preceding. The preceding needs to be lower than the one before it. Okay, so we're going to start a vector so we can keep track of these. Vectors are going to be under the collections variable. We're going to do vector swing v lows null. Okay, so if this happens, then begin. So when we have a swing high, we don't want to just plot. We also want to insert the information into the vector lows. Now, one of the things I've been doing is adding this as a string with more information than just the swing low. Okay, so into the vector you can put different information. You can put a boolean, a string, a numerical, but if you put a string in there, then you can put more information than just letters. Okay, so what I would put is let's see. Instead of just putting the value of the swing low or the swing high, which would be that, we're going to turn that into a string, so that number to string with 2 decimal places. Okay, and so that's going to be the value here. That's going to be the price here of this high, but we also want to get the number of bars back, or the bar number that it is. So it would actually be, that's going to be a number also. So that number will be current bar minus how many ever bars strength this is, which is 4. So current bar minus 4, and that will be an integer, so it'll be 0 decimal places. So that'll be a number to string as well. Current bar minus 4, 0 decimal places. Then we're going to put a plus. And because we're going to use this with token lists, it needs to be comma delimited. So parentheses, comma, that. All right. So now we have a, in the vector, has 2 pieces of information. 2 pieces of info. Okay. It's got the bar number that it occurred at, and it's got the price. So this bar number right here will be bar, I don't know, 450, and it'll be price level 5067. Those 2 pieces of information will be stored in the vector. So that way, when we want to come back and look at the vector, we can find both pieces of information. Now we could do 2 vectors, so we don't have to go through and break this vector down. We could do 2 vectors, but I like to be complicated. We need a token list to be able to break that vector down. T-list null. Token list is going to use ts-data.common, and then we also need to instantiate that, which will be t-list equals new token list. All right. So when we get ready to use it, so now we have these right here. So we need to now say, and instead of going through each token list, tell you what, I'm gonna make a new one anyway. And for the sake of making your programming less complicated, you probably wouldn't want to make a new one. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Do what you want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another token, make another vector, and then we can get rid of that vector later if we like the way this program is going. But for the meantime, instead of making it too complicated, let's just make it simple enough that we can get through the process. So we're going to have a new vector. It's just going to be v. We call it vval for v values, and then we're going to have vval equals new vector. Okay, so again, if we get a swing high, we're going to insert vval dot insert. It's going to get the same information as far as the this price is high here as this vector gets here, and so they'll be inserted one after another. So there should be the same number of, there should be the same count in the vval as it is in the vlows. All right, so once we get this, now again, so anytime we get a new value here, let's count back and let's see if this value is lower than this value, is lower than this value. Okay, so once we get these inserted here, let's go and ask, let's say x check, I'm going to do check sequence. Okay, since that's a method, bring it to the top, method void x check sequence IEX of A, begin, and okay, so now we're going to say for, and also we only want to do this, we know that we need 3 values in here in order to find out if we have 1, 2, 3. So we're only going to do this method if we have 3 values. Otherwise, we're going to get invalid index of the method. So if vval dot count is greater than or equal to 3, then run this, and this is here. Okay, so for IDX of A equals 0 to vval, we only need to go back 3 indexes, right? Because we're only looking at the last 3. So that's a 0 index, 1, 2. So for IDX of A, so the index from 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2, begin. End. If this value is less than this value, it's less than this value. So how would we do that? Let's say if we're starting at the most recent one in the vector, that's just the way we put it in there. We inserted the most recent one here. So if the val of IDX of A as type double, because that's what it is less than the val, and it needs to be the one before it. So it needs to be, so if this first one was 0, then this one that we're comparing it to would be 1. So vval of IDX of A plus 1, because it's the one prior to, but it goes up in numbers. So instead of this being like 0, -1, -2, this is 0, 1, 2 indexes ago. Okay, and for that reason, this actually won't be 2, because then this will give us a too high count on our loop. So this will go to 1. Okay, so if vval s type double is less than vval of index of A plus 1 as type double, you know what? And we probably could have just done a while loop. Let's do a while loop. Because what you could do here is for the loop, you could just allow it to run through the loop and then put some type of other boolean to let it stay in the loop. And if this is false, so if this is less than this, or we just say if this current index is greater than this, then we're going to break, right? So when you're in a loop, you can break out of the loop. When you're in a method, you can return out of the whole method. But in order to break this loop, just to say that this high is higher than the one before it, you just break out of it. Okay, and then once you break out of it, now whatever index you're on, this index, you can say, okay, well, what index did I end up on? You say if index of A equals, if it equals 0 or whatever it is, if it didn't get to the end of the, if it didn't get to 1, if it didn't get to the end, then you want to go ahead and say that it didn't finish the loops with everything being sequentially lower. All right, let me shut this door. This dog's bothering me a little bit. Okay. All right. So yeah, but I think a while loop makes more sense. So we'll say while IDX while this is less. Let's make another boolean anyway. While lower high. Okay. So the interesting thing about having variables here in your methods, you really need to be sure, like when you initialize your variables for the main module, you go ahead and kind of instantiate. You put the initial value here, right? But with a method, you're not putting an initial value. All you're doing is saying what the value type is. So you really kind of want to make sure that you know what the initial value is before you start using the variable. Okay, so for instance, that's why I said when you're doing a loop using index of A, I'm saying index of A equals 0. So I know what it is. But when you're using lower high, you don't know if lower high is starting off as being false or true. So we'll just say lower high equals false. That way we know what it is. Okay, so begin. And this is within the body of the method. Okay, so lower high is equal to false. And then we want to say while this index is lower than this index, or while lower high is equal to false. We'll say while lower high is equal to true. We'll start it as true because I think typically it's going to start off as false anyway. All right, so while begin end. Okay, so while the val of IDX of A as type double is less than, so if this one is less than that one, and so we also need to start off index of A is equal to 0. Remember I said you need to tell the program what an index of A is equal to. You don't know if it's going to start off as 1 or 0. You really don't know. So let's put it as 0. So that most recent value in the highs as type double, if it's less than vval of index of A plus 1, so the one before it as type double, then, and this is a if statement, if this is less than that, then lower high equals true. Okay, so, and then while lower high, because you need a statement here after the while, because you need to tell the loop why you are continuing to run. We're continuing to run if lower high is equal to true. I don't remember if you need a semicolon there or not. All right, so while lower high is equal to true, begin, we're going to run this. If that's lower than that, then lower high is equal to true. And then we're going to come back down. That's going to be true, so we'll run it again. And funny thing about these loop statements, you really need to make sure that you understand what your loops are doing. And especially when you're using while loops, because if it continues to run, then it will just run in a different loop. So we're going to say while lower high is equal to true, and we are less than, because we're doing one comparison here, right? So this comparison to this comparison, and then we're doing one comparison here. This comparison to this comparison. Okay, so we're doing two comparisons. So this is the first one. First one, and then this is the second one. Okay, so we're all going to run this two times. So while lower high is equal to true, and IDX of A is less than or equal to 2. Begin. So we're going to start the index equal to 1. So this will be the first iteration that it'll run, and then after it runs the first time, it's going to become IDX of A is equal to, we're going to do plus equal 1. Every time it runs, it's going to add 1 to it. So when it comes up here, it'll, for that next iteration, it'll be equal to 2. It'll run it again. We'll find out if it's low or high or not. So if this is less than that, then low or high is equal to true. Else low or high is equal to false. And that's also important because if this low or high, if this high, if this, even this first one is higher than this one preceding it, then it will set low or high equal to false right away. You'll come here, it'll say, nope, it's false, so we're not going to run this again. Okay, all right, so as we get through the while loop, let's see. So if we did make it to IDX of A equaling 2, right? So we ran it the first time, check, we're good. Ran it the second time, check, we're good. Lower high is still equal to true, right? Not only that, but IDX of A, because it came into this while as a 2, it'll add 1 to it, it'll become a 3. So now when we get down here, after this while loop, we'll say if lower high is equal to true and IDX of A is equal to 3, then plot 3, plot 2. We done any plots yet? Plot 1, plot 1, plot 2. We're going to put it on the low side. Okay, and then we'll make it we'll say it ready for trend line. Red. Okay, no errors? What? Nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Okay, well, we certainly don't have it showing up yet, so we should show up here though. Something like this. Something like this. All right, it's on there. TL break, show me. All right, so where are we at here? So lower high is equal to true, IDX of A, while lower high is equal to true, and IDX of A is less than equal to 2. Begin. If vval of IDX of A this first index here needs to be the zero place, right? Because this first high is at the 0 index, so this actually needs to be a 0. Okay, and so this will be a 0, this will be a 0 plus 1, and then this will move down to a 1, because it's the same number of iterations we're talking about. We're just talking about a different location within the vector. All right, let's try verify on that. Okay, at least we didn't get any issues with the count. Vval index of A as type double is less than vval index of A plus 1 as type double, then lower high is equal to true, else lower high is equal to false, then index of A plus equal to 1. Okay, so as long as that index of A is less than or equal to 1, now we come back up here when it's 1, run that's lower than that. Lower high is equal to true, and index of A. Okay, so now this needs to, instead of being 3, it needs to be 2. Boom. All right, look at that. So we got our little dot there. That's what we're looking for. Let's come back over here. Let's just make it a little bit larger for visibility sake. Okay, so now when we come back over here, you see that, again, we're not really trying to replicate this on multiple different areas, but we're looking specifically at this area just because we're looking for 3 highs, 1 lower than the prior, And so when you get that, then we're going to be ready to draw our trend line. You see that happen here multiple times. So here is when this final swing high would have been created. It would have been created right here. So you get this trend line from 1, 2, and 3. All right, so this trend line would look something like this. Problem with that is now we also have one right here, right? And this one starts, this one is using 1, 2, 3. It's using these 3, which is actually pretty neat because this trend line, this swing high came right up and bumped this line from these 3 trends and went short, which is, very interesting. Again, obviously there's something to this technical analysis. I don't think it's everything, but there's definitely something to it. So that's why we're working with it today. Let's see. So we're going to, what we could do is instead of allowing this to create a whole new trend line right here, just wait till we have another solid 3 lines. Because what I'm going to end up doing, I could do like some type of regression or like some type of best fit line, but what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to draw it from the first to the third, and then the line will be like this, right? So this one would be from the, essentially, even though these all line up, which is great, and like I say, because it lines up, that one right there hits it perfectly. That one hits it too, but it's trending up at that point. But I'm just going to draw this from the first point to the third point. So it'll be like boom to boom, and then it'll extend. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to figure out how to make that happen. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this line. Okay, so once we know that we are ready to draw trend lines, we're going to get ready to draw a trend line. So we need to use drawing objects using EOS system.drawing, and then using EOS system drawing objects, and then we need to be prepared for a drawing line. So trend line T, I usually just do T lines, so we'll do that, and then instantiate it. Okay, so now we need to figure out how to get from this line, we need to get this point's information and that point's information. Well, we have been saving that in the VLOWs, right? Because we've been saving the bar number and the value, which I guess we really don't even need the value at this point because we already have the bar number. The bar number will have attached with it open, high, low, close information. So let's see. So if this and this and this, then this. So if we do get over here to this point, then instead of just plotting, we'll also X draw line, another method, which we will put here, method void X draw line. I don't know if we'll need anything here. Let's just, I always like to have an index ready to go. All right. Let's see here. Let me make sure I hadn't missed anything. Oh boy. All right. Looks like I missed you, Michael Anthony. My fault. You know, I kind of stay tight working on this programming. So let me see what you got on here. Chat. Well, everything has disappeared. There we go. Okay. All right. What art thou saying? PFE looks all those like tariff set off and shouldn't be. Yep. Don't know anything about PFE. What is that? Pfizer? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a thing about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, but if there's something that we can do in the way of programming to capture the moves on it, you let me know, because that I can work out. You know, gift or a curse. I've been spending a lot more time with the programming as opposed to the technical and the fundamental analysis. So I'm just kind of coming back around to the programming again, and I'm extracting more information from the charts to go back into the realm of putting it into a program, if you will. All right. Okay, so let's see. All right, so when we get here, we're going to look, we're going to try to find this first dot here. So when we're going to draw a line, we're going to have T-line dot create. Well, T-line is equal to trend line dot create, and then we're going to have bar number points because we have those bar numbers, remember? So bm point dot create, and then we need the bar number and the price. Now the bar number is going to come from what? So token list, our token list, we're going to clear that and get ready to add stuff to it. T-list dot add. What are we going to add to the token list to get this information? Well, we know that we're currently at the V lows. We're at the V lows. We're going to be at this 0 index, and then so that's the 0 index. Skip the 1 and then the 2. So 0. So V lows of IDX, V lows of 0 as type string, which it will be, and then we need to grab this bar number here. It will be as a string, so we need to convert it to a number. So we'll do string to number of what? T-list, token list of 0. And then we're going to do the high of that same. And technically, if we get, yeah, we'll make it a step easier, because if we get this to be true when we have this new high being created, then we know that we are how many bars back? Well, this is easy because we've set it. This is more or less a constant. We're 4 bars back, so we can just do a 4 bars back. So let's use this strategy for this second index. So we'll do the second index. It doesn't matter if you do first or last. The trend line is the same thing. It has an end point and a beginning point. That's it. Well, when you're creating it with the structure, the format of Tradestation. All right, so T-less of 2, high of high. Well, we'll just do string to number because it's going to be kind of the same thing. The string is going to be T-list. This isn't T-list of 2. The bar number is going to be the 0th index of this token list. This is referencing the second index of this. I know, confusing. This vector, we're referencing not the 0 index first, but we're referencing the second index back. Now, once we get this information in the token, stored in the token list, now the token list, this first index here is giving us our bar number. This second index is going to give us the high of the bar. So T-list of 1, As type string. I don't think we don't have to as type that because it's already a string. So string to number, that's our creation of our first B endpoint, and then our second B endpoint that create is just going to be, again, like I said, it's going to be 4 bars back. So the bar number 4 bars back, current bar minus 4, and then it's going to be the high of what? The high of current bar minus 4. Boom. And boom. And boom. And boom. T-line dot color equals color dot red. And then T-line dot persist equals true. T-line dot I think that's it. Oh, lock. I like to lock it. True. And then drawing objects dot add. I'm gonna add that trend line. And let's see how many errors we have. Close your eyes. Verify. No errors. Nothing drawn. Something's wrong. No errors. Nothing wrong. No errors. Nothing drawn. Something wrong. I like it. All right. So token list clear. T list add. We're going to add the V lows of 2 bars ago. Two indexes ago. So 0, 1, 2. All right. Let's type string. String line. B endpoint dot create. I feel like it's something simple. But let's continue. B endpoint dot create. String to number. Unless these bar numbers are off. Some of the times, B endpoint dot create bar number. When I've done this in the past, it likes current bar. There is a bar number that you can use, but it tends to like current bar. So, oh, wait a minute. Okay, current bar minus 4. Yeah, well, where are all the trend lines at? Let's do this. Let's extend the line to the right, and then we'll see what kind of mess we've created. T-list T-line dot extend right equals true. Okay, when we extend them to the right, okay, we're getting lines way up here. See those lines up there? And we know that that's off. That's bananas. It's bananas, man. Uh-oh. How did I do that? How did I do that? Where were we at? Remember we put that big old thick line on there? I feel like I went to another screen. I did. Okay, we're here. All right. When we get a new swing high, we're inserting 0. We're inserting the number to string, current bar minus 4. That would be the correct bar number. And plus, comma, plus, and then our height. Swing high of strength 4. 20? Why is this 20? This should be, first of all, this should be 2. But I don't think this is going to change it. Let me see. Change that to, yeah, okay, so that's at least right. That should be decimal places, 2 decimal places. And then we know that we are getting an opportunity to X draw the line. So, excuse me. So we are drawing the line. T-list.clear. Add trend line. Endpoint.create. Change the number T-list. 0. Current bar -4. High. Honestly, I'm not getting a. Let me see. We're gonna do bar number here and bar number here, because right now I'm not getting a valid point on either of these. I should get a valid point on one of these. Let's do that. All right, still didn't show up, so I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Stand right. Be endpoint. Let's see, what session am I on? 24-hour session. Some of the times when you're using like date time points, you can, maybe it's bar number points, but you can get issues with, you can definitely get issues with it lining up. I think it's if you're using maybe bar number points, but you don't have a bar and it skips. There's not information on bars, and so it technically skips giving data on some of the bars. Then your bar number points can get you in trouble. Your date time points will be what you really want to use, but I don't think we have any issues with that because we're on the 5-minute time frame, so we should have information on every bar. But let's switch this session and just see if we do regular session. It's still very weird. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the only other thing, well, because part of the problem here is even just using, even just asking for it to give me a point at current bar or bar number, it should be able to do that with ease. Shouldn't be any issues here. Oh, you know what it is? Some of the times I don't use max bars back. Let me try this again. Let me try current bar plus max bars back -1. Let's try that. Let's see if that's the golden ticket. Yeah. String to number. This is the okay. All right, so we're getting a location of the last one. But so this one is correct because this is the last point, the most recent point. Current bar plus max bars back -1. Oh, -4 minus -4. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. Let me put it in down here. This would be, okay, so that 4 bars back. So then this shouldn't need it at this point. Okay, and now I'll really have to go back and sit down with this because, like I said, sometimes it just all makes sense, and then sometimes I get hung up too. Specifically with this max bars back stuff. Current bar, -4. We're still not getting that extra trend line from here to here to here that we're looking for. Current bar plus max bars back -1, -4. That would be the bar number. This would be the height. And then when we come and we retrieve it, one of our points should be here, current bar. But I mean, if we're using current bar plus max bars back -1, then we should have to use that here. And then it would be the same. No, it wouldn't be. This wouldn't be this. This would be just 4 bars ago. Ah, that's the problem. That's the problem. All right. Okay. All right. So we've got our trend line drawn here, right? So you see it's right here. Okay. So just for the sake of kicks and giggles, because we don't want somebody on here, we're just going to say if, just because, like I said, we're working from here forward, we'll just say if the time is after 08:25 on 4/9. So we'll start off saying that condition 1 is equal to false. We'll do that once. And then we'll say if time is greater than, or time is greater than or equal to 08:00 and date is equal to 125:04:09, then condition 1 is equal to true. So if that's greater than that, if condition 1 and that, then come in here and do all that. Gotta spell it right. Okay. All right. So now we get just this one line. This one line. Or there's probably other lines, but they happen after, the time was 8 o'clock. Okay. So all these other ones here that qualify, they would show up too. But if time is after that, then that, if Eric's market, which is just pretty much market hours and condition 1, boom. Again, with the spelling. All right, so now we have fewer lines. We are only looking at stuff pretty much within market hours. Boom, boom, and boom. So now the next part of the puzzle was that if price crosses it, right? So if price crosses this line, I wish there was an undo button for drawing changes. Okay, so now we need to look to say if the high crosses above this line. So, and I need to come back and look at this. Max bars back. Like I said, I've been, I don't say I've been getting away, but I've been using current bar. You know what? I think it was a lot of my strategies. I've not even been having max bars back. Like max bars back has been 0 or something like that. So maybe that's the reason why I hadn't been needing to use max bars back in the past, but certainly need to use it now. Okay, so now at this point, if we have a line on the chart, so we need to say if T line is not null and high crosses, come on, over T line dot get value. What's the date and time? You can do date and time, or you can do bar number. So let's keep working with this bar number. Let's get better at that. Current bar plus max bars back minus 1. Then we're going to plot 3 on the high, and then it will be broken, and then we'll make that black. Verify. Boom. All right, you see where it's broken there? All right, so it actually, oh, the high broke it there, right? But we need to see that it closes above it. So if time and close crosses over it, hit verify. Now close crosses over it here. All right, so now that the close crossed over it, now we have essentially found 3 sequential highs, one lower than the preceding, and we found a break of the trend line created from the first point and the last point. Okay, so now once we found that, now we want to take this high right here. So we're gonna have something called hold last high. Yeah, hold last. Well, we really don't need to, because we have something else going for us. We're going to do a rectangle. Rect by. I don't know. And then go ahead and instantiate that. Rect by is equal to, I don't like that name, but it is what it is. Okay, so now if we do have this break here, so if all this happens, then begin X draw rect, and we're going to plot that black, and we're going to end it. So X draw rect will be a X draw rect. Oof, come on. I can tell I'm getting tired now. I just got back from driving 6 hours, man. I mean, and immediately hopped into programming. Not to mention, when we stopped along the way for rest breaks on the way back, I had my laptop and I was programming while we were supposed to be resting. I mean, I'm ready to go. Let's put it that way. I'm ready to go. All right, so we're going to say if we have this break here, then we're going to start creating this rectangle from this high to this low. So the lowest low. So from wherever we currently are, the lowest low from where we currently are to the first swing high. So we have that. Where is that? We have that. T-list here. T-list. This first point, we have that first high. Right? So, I tell you what, yeah, we better do it that way. Okay, so, because at that point we should still, well, that's a break. What if we get another high and then we get the break? Now that new high is going to come into here. So it's going to be added to the vector. Well, actually, if we get a new high, then it's going to recalculate and it's going to say, hey, do you have sequential lows? If so, we're going to draw a line and we'll have a new line. So I think we'll be safe here. We'll try it this way. Okay, so we're just going to reference again. We're going to pull up that token list, tlist.clear. You got to clear it every time you get ready to use it. I'm telling you, if you don't, then every time you add to this token list, it'll just keep adding larger and larger values. Don't ask me how I know. VLOWs of IDX of A, no, VLOWs of 2 indexes ago as type string, and then token list. So now we're at the first index because the first index will be our high. No, we need to get the lowest low. So lowest low, hold last high, hold low. So hold low is equal to the lowest what? Low from here. Lowest low, how many bars ago? Lowest low. All right, so now how do we get how many bars are between here and here? Well, we can take the bar number and find the difference, right? So whatever the current bar number is, so we'll just use a method here. So this will be span. It's an integer because it's a number of bars. Span, so span is equal to current bar plus max bars back minus 1. Subtract this bar number plus max bars back minus 1. Subtract, which is this value here. It's the token list from that. So token list of 1. Which one is the bar number? 0 or 1? Bar number was 0. And that is a string to number. So now we have our bar number from there ago. And that bar number was already max bars back minus 1 minus that 4. So we don't need to do anything else with max bars back here. We just need to subtract there. Okay, so that's the span. So now, again, when we're finding the lowest low, it's over span bars ago. Okay. Now, we also need the bar that it happened. Is there a lowest bar? Yes, it is. Lowest bar number. We're gonna go with that. And I think that's the lowest bars ago though, not the lowest bar number. Let's check. Lowest bar is going to give us the number of bars ago the lowest value occurred. Okay, so so we don't even need the hold low. What we do when we're making this rectangle. Yeah. All right, so lowest bar number is equal lowest bar of price. So the same thing that we did here, right? So low over span. It's just that here we're getting the value, and because I didn't ask you anything, so get out my business. All right, so it's just that this value here is the lowest value in this bar. This number here is the number of bars ago at which it happened. All right, so now let's see if we can create this rectangle. Rect by is equal to rectangle dot create bn point dot create. So the bar number and the price. So we're going to use the current bar number that we're at, which is current bar plus max bars back minus 1, and the price is going to be the price at which we broke. That price at which we're referencing the close, so let's use the close. And then the second point. So that was our first point there, our high at which we closed above. And then the second point is going to be that we have to do bar number, which is going to be, this is going to be the number of bars ago that it happened. So in order to get the bar number from the number of bars ago that it happened, we're going to say this same thing, which is our current location, now minus the number of bars ago that it happened. Okay, and then to get the value there, we already have the value. It's going to be hold low. Hold low. All right. All right, so now we should have everything that we need for the rectangle. All right, so let's go ahead and put some color or something to it. So rect by dot field color is equal color dot from ARGB, and we're going to make it somewhat of a light color. So we're going to do 255 is the highest that you can go as far as being completely solid. So we're going to go like 100, and then we're going to make it color dot blue. I think I can do it this way. All right, and then rect by dot lock equals true, and then rect by dot persist equals true, and then rect, and then drawing objects dot add rect by. Let's see how many ways we messed this up. Verify. Tried to reference more bars back than allowed by max bars back setting. Let's come here and then jailbreak. Status customize. We're just going to make this auto protect. Okay. All right. Yay! We got it. Okay. So this is what we're looking for, right? So again, going back through everything that we kind of looked at, you've got a high, lower high than the both preceding ones sequentially. We get a trend line drawn. We get a break of the close over the trend line. Now, so once we get that break, now we're using that as a point to make our rectangle. Boom. To our lowest low since this whole thing happened, right? So when this cross happened, back to the beginning, the lowest low here was here. So we're going from here to here. All right, so that should show up on other areas. Yeah. Of course, they're larger. Trend line broke here. And so this was the lowest low. So boom. Okay. So the last thing I want to do, and now this it's going to get messy here. It's going to get messy. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to extend this rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to extend the rectangle. So if rect by exists, then extend rect. Okay, extend rect is a method. Oh, Did you see all the news on PFE, like having extra $3.24 billion with new drugs approved? No, I didn't, Michael Anthony. No, I didn't. Let's see what's going on with that. Well, and I don't even know when that news happened. Do you know when the news happened? That's PFE? I feel like that's Pfizer. You've got a $ in front of it, but is that with the $ in front of it, is that a ETF or certainly not an index? I don't know when this happened, but it doesn't look like anything has gone off the charts as of yet. If we go to the daily time frame, it has been sinking. Huh. Well, let's see how far back, because we know that it ran up with COVID. Yeah, 2021 or so here, it ran way up. And it's just been sinking ever since. I guess after COVID got done, and they just not able to make as much, not as much profit sharing going on with the vaccinations. Going down quite a bit. What is it hitting down here? That's the question. 10 years back? How far back can we go? 100 years. I don't really see anything technically going on, right? I mean, we know that when we get to the bottom of a move like this, we're expecting something to happen down here, or at the inside of this move right here. So maybe it's going to come down here and do something. This volume is increased right here, but it's not significantly higher than anything else. It's trying to do something here, but not I mean, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look, you see, like for this reversal to happen here, all this volume came, this volume was coming up. Like that's more volume to turn this around. This here is not like a lot of volume like this is. So I don't know, man. I don't know, Michael. News on Fidelity website. Let me go, which I'll tell you. PFE sold shares in HLN to the UK. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Come Monday. Little gap down. Let's see, how often does Pfizer? Well, I mean, it does gap down. Gap down here, a little bit of a gap down. Are you looking for something long term, or are you looking for something short term, intraday? Yeah, this is PFE. Is this this looks like the right one, PFE. PFE. Yeah, it's Pfizer on the New York Stock Exchange is what I'm coming up with. And unfortunately, Tradestation doesn't give a lot of good information with its research. Let's see. With the news part of it, it doesn't give a lot of good information. So I'd have to pull over to Thinkorswim in order to get better info. What you doing? coffee 1 day ago. To expand this recommendation for the use. Honestly, like I said, I don't follow it that much, so I wouldn't know how often these things are just kind of fluke. And then some of the times you'll see this reported over and over and over, and it's just trying to get a rise out of people. Like it's, this same news report is reported 1 day ago, 4 days ago, 9 days ago, so I have to be careful about looking at news when I'm not steadily engaged in it, because I'll get tripped up easily. But that's why, like I said, on my other charts, which I try to do a better job with following the news, just with ES. I could do it with other news sources, but I haven't been here the week, so for this last week I haven't been inputting the news information. But I try to keep track of what's going on with the major news. FOMC meetings and all that kind of stuff. Unemployment claims, things that really move the market as a whole. But to know what's moving the pharmaceutical industry, I am not sure. All right, so let me see if we can get this line extended. So we're here. We need to go here, and we were extending the line. Where we extending the line? Okay, so if rect by exists, then we're going to extend rect. Extend rect is, we haven't started it yet. Okay. Method void extend rect at begin. We might do something like two things can happen. So one thing, if we just do an extend rect, then once we get a new rectangle on the chart, it'll stop extending the prior rectangle. So I can show you how to get around that. All right, so we're gonna do set endpoint. Oh, easy there, easy. Rect by dot set endpoint. Because we started using a bar number point, we need to set the new endpoint using a bar number point. If you don't, you will get some crazy stuff on your chart and you won't understand how to get around it. And you won't understand what's wrong because everything looks right. But if you start with the bar number point, you need to update with the bar number point. If you start with a date time point or an XY point, you need to update with a date time point or an XY point. Just know that. Okay, so bar number point for the endpoint will be bn point create current bar plus max bars back, and I actually had a shortcut for that too. And then we're going to do now we want to update with the current bar, but we need to and it won't even be the endpoint, it'll be the beginning point. No, it'll be the endpoint. So this endpoint here needs to have a new bar number, but it needs to keep the same price level. So let's see how we keep the same price level. So we got the endpoint, new bar number. To get the same price level, we just want to go to rect by dot endpoint dot price. We should be able to do it like that. Close that and close that. That and that. Boom. All right, So you see what happened? So we get the rectangle being extended over. This same one here, of course we had our high, lower high trend line broken. So now we have a rectangle created from here to the lowest low, which is back here. Same thing, here to here to here, and then it just extends over to the right. Okay, and again, when one rectangle starts, this previous one stops. Now to get around that, what you can do is we need to make some temporary. This gets more complicated. We're gonna make this rect 1. Okay. All right. Let me see if I remember how to do this. We need an index to loop through our indexes of our rectangles. So for IDX equals 0 to drawing objects dot items of what type, what filter. Well, let's go up here and see what the different filters are. Drawing objects because if you look in the help section, it's changed, right? They don't have it updated with the right filter numbers, which is unfortunate, but you know, that's what it is. So drawing objects items. Yeah, this isn't. So the object category right here, the enumerated values, drawing objects. Let me just use this. Object category enumeration. But these are not right though. They might be right and not have changed, but there we go. Okay, so drawing objects.object category. So now we want to do, you know what? We'll just write it out like that. I've been told by some of the senior programmers that that's the best way to do it. All right, so we want to go drawing objects. What was that? Dot. No. Drawing objects. Dot object category. That's what I was trying to do. Ecosystem.drawing objects dot object category dot rectangle. Boom. All right, so if we have that, if the drawing objects items is of this type, dot count -1 begin end, we're going to assign this temporary rectangle. Just make it temp rect temp is equal to oh, you know what? What I typically will do is make a vector that holds all the rectangles. Vector, we just call it by boxes. Null. Come back down here. By boxes. Buy boxes equals new rectangle. Sorry, new vector. Okay, so anytime we draw a new rectangle, we need to also insert it into the by boxes dot insert 0 rect by. All right, so now we put in all of our rectangles, and that's kind of cool. You can put your rectangles as well. You can put rectangles into a vector. All right, so when we come down here and we're extending, you know, at this point, because we're not looking through all the rectangles, we're only looking through the very specific rectangles that we put into our vector. We don't even need this. I'm just gonna get rid of this, but it's something good to kind of keep in mind, because this is the way that you end up doing a lot of other stuff too. So for IDX of A equals 0 to V by boxes dot count minus 1. Again, rect temp is equal to by boxes of IDX of A as type what? It's a rectangle. Okay, so now we're going to do rect. Now we're going to do rect temp endpoint is this, and then rect temp endpoint price. See how many errors we have now. No errors. Wow. I guess I'm getting better at this. All right, so again, you see from here, because we pretty much started this, allowing it to draw our trend lines and our boxes after what, 8 o'clock or so on this day. So we have this first one that comes out here, and then this next one happened, and so it extends, and this next one happened and it extends. And so probably what you want to do is you want to say, all right, well, if price comes back down and it comes through the high, or if it comes, you know, something, then you want to stop drawing the rectangle. But, you know, for these intents and purposes, we're just gonna leave these here. This was interesting, where there's this overlap here from this box to this box. This thick overlap here was a good point where price retrace. Interesting. Lot of interesting things. I mean, there's 1,000 ways that you can program something, an infinite number of ways that you can program something. I won't sit here and come up with the best one right now. I promise you I won't. I wish I was that good. If I was that good, I probably wouldn't do it anyway. But you never know. You never know. Hanging out on here, you might find a good nugget. But anyway, that's pretty much what I set out to do. Oh, CMC announced the drug tariff, then PFE and all drug stocks sold off. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. People panic selling in American companies with tariff on companies in other countries. Great fundamentals. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's kind of coming down to that, coming down to this area here. You know, either of these. So we'll see. Even you've got these areas of rejection here. If you were to extend these two boxes through here, you might say that you've got something there. So, but, and you know, Michael, that's probably one thing I need to look at more in the future too, is longer term setups, as opposed to just looking intraday. I have at least tried to break my way out of the lower time frames, 15-second and that kind of thing, and move up to the 5-minute. So I'm not in the weeds too much, but again, there's a lot of stuff that I look at, and so order sizes and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really still trying to hone in on where some of these swings happen at. So anyway, oh, I think this family come in. What price is the bottom? Price is bow, bow, bow. Well, that lowest there is 1075, and the top of this little range here from boom to boom is, this price is about 1312 or so. Yeah. But Michael, are you in the Discord? I know there's a lot of different names in there, different handles, usernames, avatars, that kind of thing. So I can't always keep track of who's who, but come on over to the Discord for sure and PM me there. And I enjoy talking about stocks. I enjoy talking about everything stock related. So we can definitely get it going in the group chat, or you can PM me. But yeah, glad to see other folks interested in the market as well. As for me and tonight, like I said, been driving about 6 hours. Just came back from vacation. You can call it vacation, or you can call it a step away from programming in the market. But I never step away. It's always in my heart. Let's see. Been at 13 before. Yeah, it's been at 13. It's been at 13. It's been at 13 back in 2010. PFE Pfizer has been at 13 back in 2000. Yeah, back around here, 2009, 2010ish. So, but like I said, it just looking at it looks like a pretty good place. It's like you say, there's a sell off, there's panic selling off. There is that, and there will always be that. The question is, you don't want to really get in too early. So if this is a true reversal, then it's got plenty of time to kind of bump around in here and find a new support before it starts going back up and trying to retest this area here. But it depends on what your goal is. If you're a long-term investor for it, then you're saying, well, what is the next place to get out? Or am I going to hold it forever? Or, am I looking for it to eventually have a break above this ascending resistance and break above it to the top side exponentially? I don't know what those answers are. I know it's a lot harder for it to break exponentially to the upside and after an ascending resistance. But this descending resistance here, boom to boom, it can definitely take that out and then retest this area or any of this area or retest this high. But yeah, you're right. It's got a lot of range to move up, but does that mean that it's a long-term hold? I wouldn't be the one to answer that question, because like I said, there's technicals, there's fundamentals, and it hadn't even turned around yet. It's still a fallen knife at this point. So, all right, Michael Anthony. Hey man, I'm gonna put the link for the Discord on the feed here once I get done, and then I'll catch you over on Discord. All right, guys. As for the rest of you, I hope you are happy programmers. I have been your host. I am Eric. I'm out. Peace.